Hey everybody, it's Thursday and the stock market is open. It's September 29th. We're going to talk stocks today. I haven't done a stock video in a while. Really enjoy doing these videos. Love talking about the economy, talking about companies, talking about which companies I choose to invest in when I invest. I come in and out of the market like a comet orbiting the sun. I go really in. I'll buy a quick option. I'll play it for a week. I look at it almost as gambling because it is kind of gambling, but it's gambling on external factors and and how we all communicate in commerce and everything. So it's interesting to talk about. So I have made a lot of progress, and the reason why I'm doing this video today is I want to talk about the progress I'm making and what I'm doing. So we have a couple things going on in this top stocks sheet which you can access for free. And just put a link. I mean, this is my ideas of what's happening with companies and stock prices. I put target prices on things, and I change them frequently. Certainly, I'll change them and I'll change the last review date at the same time, so you know that I've made an adjustment. And you also know that you're working with bad information on certain companies. For example, I haven't looked at Dillard's since April 22nd of 2020 when I originally started this project of going through all the companies on the NASDAQ and the NYSE. Is what I tried to do is just to understand, because I never really looked at stocks or the stock market before. People asked me to do it a lot of times. I was like, nah. I was like, it's all BS. I'm not ever looking into it. Then I started actually looking into it when all the sports got canceled for COVID. And I went through like every company and I reviewed their financials on TD Ameritrade. I really think TD Ameritrade is a fantastic service. I haven't asked them to sponsor or anything like that because I just talk about these things honestly. They have a great set of resources available that you can just browse through these companies and see their financials already tabled out and graphed out, see their earnings per share. I mean, everything that they file, if you want to go and read through any literature to get even further detail on things, it's right here within clicks through their website. So they made this really, really easy for me to browse these companies quickly, okay, and make my notes. And after I did that, even though I am not done, as you can see, there are hundreds and hundreds, probably 1,000 companies I haven't reviewed yet that in the last few years, that I need to review again. And I will, and I'm going to remove a lot off the list. So this list is going to shrink as well. But here's what we have. We have what I think are the best things with the companies that I have already looked at. And they're going to be similar names with a couple new ones, actually, since I did videos in the past, like Avis Budget Group is a new one. This industry is back. Rental car industry is back. And travel is back. And they got, you can see what happened with their stock price here when we look at them is they had a precipitous fall and they're a really profitable company when things are running. You see this precipitous fall is starting to come back, but there's no reason with travel back and more people existing on the planet and more people traveling and more people needing vehicles, because the cost of a used vehicle is still really, really high. So rental becomes an option when you travel. And it's just like, this is a good company. Anyway, so point is this is the order of things. The best company is Tesla. I mean, that's obvious. They are that when you hire them, I'm not going to repeat everything I always say about them, but just understand that they are changing the planet. And when you hire the best engineers and you start accelerating the intelligence at your company, you end up making things better faster than you ever thought possible. And you come up with things that you never even dreamed of, because you have so many smart people working together that the collaboration, that chemical mixture of smart and smart and smart and optimal just ends up making things that are incredible. And they haven't even really focused, I feel like, on financials as much as just creating a standardized product with the Giga press, with the way they're making the batteries, which just vertically and horizontally integrating. They are just dancing with grandeur. I don't know what word to use. So they're always my number one, because I feel like it's difficult for the human brain to properly assess what this company is doing, even though many big time investors have and have made a fortune. And Elon is, I believe, the richest person on the planet. He can have as many kids as he wants. Although I said if the richest person on the planet can't have as many, afford as many kids as they need to have, then we got a problem. So he can have as many kids as he wants, and good for him. He's running a great company. So they're always number one, and they are. So they're having a terrible day today because of all this weird macroeconomic data that's coming out saying, GDP bad, inflation bad, everything bad. There's a lot of stuff that makes people hesitant, and the market goes up and down and up and down every day. And Tesla moves dramatically. So I'm here to kind of talk about two things. One is option strategy, and the other is all the companies I need to go through. Because that's what I'm going to spend the next few weeks finalizing again, is reviewing every company and trimming this list probably down to 100 companies or less. I know that sounds difficult, but I have a ton of these ones that say stay away that are really, really small, like Peloton. The only reason I put Peloton on here is just to laugh at them, because I said this. Yeah. I was like, there was an older comment, which is, I knew this company was in terrible shape. I never understood why anybody would invest in this. Everyone just gets a treadmill, and even if it's an interactive treadmill, and then stops using it because nobody wants to exercise in the same spot for the rest of their life. I think that's the problem, right? If there's a company that ran around creating treadmills and moved them to different places, and you had to go there and ride them, then that's something interesting, right? But nobody wants to stare at the same wall or same TV or go to the same gym. It's just human nature to want to mix it up. And that's probably the main reason why I understood that was always going to be a failure. Well, they're getting shellacked. So it's fun to leave them on there, but I could just remove them from this list because they're nothing I'd ever want to invest in. And generally, you should put companies on here that are either going to be really, really big movers every day, because if you're going to play stock options, you want stuff that is really volatile because your value changes so dramatically, you can make a fortune in 5 minutes. So you want ones that move really, really big, or you just want ones that you really like and you think that they're going to be long-term, continuing to go into the future profitable companies. And those types of companies you can buy long call options in over longer periods of time and watch that stuff mature, in general, as long as you don't have a huge market drawback. Now, those are companies like Intuitive Surgical, like Google Alphabet, like Moderna, not really like Domino's. Domino's actually just runs a great business. And as soon as it gets cold, people want to go outside. That Domino's car is going to come running. And I have to say this about Domino's, actually. I apologize, Domino's, because I really have nothing but awesome things to say about this company from 25 years ago, when I started I started a business, but it was just a sole proprietorship. I started a business where I was putting restaurant menus on the internet in right around 2000. I called it like VT menus or collegemenus.com when I was in college. And it was to put the restaurant menus online so that people could browse menus online and order. And I actually set up this thing where I was delivering stuff from Costco to the dorms. I took my truck and I had this order set up online. There's a cool guy named Kobe who set this up for me. I'll send a message to him. He'll comment on this. We set up this website, and people were ordering from Costco, and I was delivering it in like 2000 or 2001. Totally before online ordering was a thing, and nobody was doing that really yet at all. And so the reason why I went off on that tangent for a second is not only to brag about the idea that I had even before it existed, but also the fact that Domino's is the type of company that when I worked with them back in the day, they were the best. They were the best. They gave you like a Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints pamphlet with their check every month, which I was like, all right, whatever. But they are awesome. They're the most reputable people. They paid their bills. You walked in and you're like, hey, I'm doing advertising, whatever. They're like, here's our coupons, put them up, do it. They're like, here you go, here's $100 a month. I was like, awesome. And that was awesome. And so they're a great company because they, for some reason, like they got their costs down in the production of their food, and they're everywhere, and they just work. The people there, you do not have a bad experience with a Domino's employee. They're good people. That's all I can say about them. So on top of that, they're doing things like trying to get robots to deliver stuff, I believe, in cities. I believe they're probably going to end up doing the electric car thing. I mean, you want to talk about something funny? I don't want to give it away, but I kind of have to. If Domino's went around and just, yeah, I'll alter it slightly what I was going to say, so I don't give away something else. But Domino's should get a bunch of electric vehicles set up to do for their delivery drivers. Like delivery drivers should not be using their own vehicle anymore. The Domino's vehicle could have something crazy funky painted on it, so you know it's the Domino's vehicle, whatever. Maybe it's the size of one of those post office delivery trucks that we all hate, that stink, that should all be electric also, the small ones. The Domino's pizza thing, that's what the delivery driver drives. It's charging from, some type of battery that's coming from solar or wind. So it's got almost no cost of the charge to it. And, the pizza driving car, that's a great type of car to drive and charge, because the pizza driver's got to come back to the Domino's where there should be a charging station port, obviously, or a couple, plug the car right in while they're coming in to pick the rest of the deliveries up, and get a mile or two charge while they're doing the 5 minutes to get the food and bring it out to the car, and then turn around and use those miles you've just charged to go deliver. And it could be free. I mean, that gas cost could go down. And I think people would be very receptive to the electric Domino's car that doesn't stink when it shows up. There's a lot of, and this is the kind of company that would do that. So they are worthy of being here, that because they are really profitable and they're really well run and they're everywhere. And there's a couple companies that are like that. Sherwin-Williams is the same thing. Sherwin-Williams is everywhere. Sherwin-Williams is places you would not believe that there is any business whatsoever. You will find a Sherwin-Williams. I've always said there are more Sherwin-Williams locations in small towns than there are 7-Elevens. Even though there nominally are probably more 7-Elevens that exist, in terms of, is there a Sherwin-Williams in your town? The answer is yes. Are you in America? I have seen their trucks coming out of like Northwest Nevada overnight, like delivering stuff from plants where they're mining metals and mining stuff that they need for the production of paints and things. All these roads, all these things getting built, they all need to be painted. They all need to be painted, and it's a specialty thing. So they're an amazing company as well, and also have shown, and they have a great dividend. So there's some good companies up here. There's a reason why they're here. Qualcomm's a little too high. I just like their financials when I was looking at them just recently, and I put them up there too high. They're not. They shouldn't be up down. They shouldn't be ahead of Sherwin-Williams. And Massimo is interesting as well. And Canadian Solar is also one I like, which is cheap, but they get thrown around in a lot. Anyway, point is, I need to go through all these companies so that I can do videos about all of them, and the 100 or so that are going to be left, because I can tell you that a lot of this stuff, yeah, is just going to disappear. Stuff like Enzo Biochem that's never shown profits really is just going to go off this list. Something like, I have notes from 2 years ago over here. Wholesale and mall outlet footwear. I don't care about this. Like, there's only so many profits that could be in a company like this. And it's just, these are all things that are going to be taken over by robotics and AI and technology. Like, we're not going to need to have, like, for example, all right, I'm jumping around a lot, but there are companies that have no future, I would say. And stuff like this has no future. You know why? I buy shoes. I buy sandals. You know where I buy them now? I buy them on a website called OOFOS. And OOFOS is, I believe, owned by Bauer and potentially by Nike or something. I don't know who owns OOFOS, but OOFOS, okay, this over here, I believe that's how you spell it. They are the best sandals I've ever had in my life. They're made of some weird material that doesn't wear down as much, and it's great. I found those at a beach in Delaware, is where I was. And I was in Ocean City or something, Delaware, I think. And I found them there, and I was like, wow, I was going to drive back and buy some more when I finally wore through a year after wearing sandals like every day. And I wore through them, and I was going to go get them. And I go, wait a minute, they're called something. And I looked it up, and I found them online, and then I ordered a new pair. And that's where I order all my sandals and all my shoes, is I order them from OOFOS online. It's even more expensive than what's in the store. if I went to that Genesco or whatever. It's more expensive to do that, but it's optimal, it's better, and I care about walking, and I care about how my legs and my hips feel with good shoes and good cushion. And so that's how I do it. That's the kind of company. So whoever owns UFOS, which I believe is Nike, but I do not know the answer to that, and I will check. Then, yeah, I need to review. Does you own UFOS? We're gonna find out. Um, we're gonna review them. We're gonna find out whether or not they're a really well run company, which I think they are, and they do have quality products. If they are one, we're going to do that today. We're going to review their financials, and I'm going to get an answer for you about whether or not now is a good time to invest in Nike on a day. I mean, let's say that their target price is 100. I mean, that sounds like kind of reasonable if they're going up, right? Where would that move them on the list? Because that would bring them right here. So we'll have to look. And answer that question. But the point is you want to invest in companies where you believe all the signs are pointing that the company is well run and you like what they do. So that's kind of why you'll see a lot of stuff up here that resembles that, and not any like oil companies or railway companies or utilities. Even like I feel like utilities are going to be a more personal thing as we figure out how to charge everything and absorb and get our electricity with companies like Canadian Solar charging our Teslas, right? You can see how these things relate. So like JB Hunt, like I would say that, yeah, they're a really strong earnings company, but I feel like, well, are they going to migrate to electric? Are they going to buy the Tesla semis, and are they going to be using those? Because you're going to have to do that in the new world to compete, because the cost of diesel, like I saw diesel at $5 a gallon, is a disaster when you can supercharge something for a very, very low and potentially lower rate, depending on how you're generating the electricity and getting it into the charging. But I don't know what charging rates are going to end up being for big time battery charges, but they're going to have to be less than gas, and they should be less than gas because they're not a fluid and they are easier to transfer and transport, essentially, because they are not fluid. Moving fluids around is really difficult. Like the reason why it's $10 a gallon milk in Alaska is because you got no cows in Alaska. I think you got to bring it up by boat, and moving fluid is expensive and difficult because it's heavy. So as you migrate away from fluid to electricity, a lot of other things become possible. Anyway, so I'm going to go through all these companies over the next few weeks here. I'll see how many I can get through, and I'm going to be doing a lot of deleting. And people are like Entravision's community. Yeah, boy, good luck. That's right. There must be a Spanish television company. Yeah, you're getting moved off here because you're not a big company and you can't possibly make me a lot of money. Oh gosh, Diebold, go away. Yeah, I hope they don't run voting machines anymore. That company scared me. Pitney Bowes. Yeah, I mean, I know stories about people in Connecticut work for Pitney Bowes. They just don't have it. They're going away. So a lot of these things are going away. And what we'll be left with is what I'll continue to do videos on. But on a day like today, where things are ridiculously down kind of for no reason. I mean, geez, wow, Tesla way down. Tesla's actually at 271 on my phone right now. Yeah, I mean, buy Tesla on a day like today because they're going down 6% based on macro news that has nothing to do with them. And they'll eventually go up again, and they'll just go up faster. So this isn't really my video on day-to-day stock option trading, because that's really, really, really gambling. But in terms of like a longer option, like if you bought a $300 long call option on Tesla for a quarter away from now, that's going to be thousands of dollars, I'm sure. But it's going to be worth it because they're going to be over and they're going to be blowing past 300, and they're just nothing but great news. And that's good for everybody. All right. So that's my stock update for the day. A lot of other things going on. But I kind of want to make these like a podcast where I talk about companies and talk about life and talk about the world, because I'm kind of getting old, and I've seen a lot and I know a lot, and I've worked for so many of these companies. Also, I've done a lot of work, and I know people at companies, and I patronize many of these companies. And so it's a different world now where you can kind of be an analyst I mean, everyone's analysis is driven from a lot of their own personal experience. Well, when you have such vast personal experience and you're throwing all the numbers together, and I have an accounting background, I can really give you some interesting information. And yeah, I say buy Tesla, and I'll continue to say that. So good luck. May all your trades be winning.